Now we're going to talk about knee slide. How we can use Grilled Chicken open guard system to answer the knee slide, and also we're dealing more with early stages and just to keep them away and just canceling everything. So one of the big keys is the knees to the chest idea. So we do it from this way. So if knee slides are easier, let's say when people are playing this, they're stretching, and also this is open. The knee goes to the mat, and this is very hard to now cover, and you have to have like very late like the recovery system. But if you have this, even without this leg, so this is kind of, they really have to like force it. If they're like 20, 30 kilo bigger, they might go through here. But actually, they're going over my shoulder, and I have a chance to spin or going after them, with a wrestling kind of single leg and everything. So this is very, very important that this is like protected, and there's no like a really easy opening from knee slide. If you just play like this, then it's like knee slides and like knee and bellies. So this is very first go. So it has to be there. And if he forces me up, I'm going to show it again. Spin. And now it's a wrestling or it's a spin. So then you have like two answers for that. Depends what you want to do and how they move. Now I'm going to show you some like ideal as it happens. So what I'm actually looking for is like a perfect execution of the Grilled Chicken against the knee slide. So I get this kind of like a spider guard. So I get this fingers again and elbow down, and I can have this. I can have other arm. This is usually harder to control, so I have the arm maybe here, the leg, and now I can manipulate, this or that, so to get out. Maybe I also stretch. I go here, and now I can play. So you have your, you have your decisions what kind of guard you want to play. But this is the idea I would want. You're just behind the shield. So, and I get this. It's not. It looks like who would do that, but if they try like a knee slide, I just funnel it in. So it kind of like I go like a little bit like inside, and now I end up here. So they will do more precise work later. They will try to do like a better knee shield, they learn to kill this leg, so it's all part of the game. But if I have a chance, I will do that first. So let's play. And we can play, yeah? And then you see like in Spider Guard is programming to good guard. You're meant to play this, so it's very, very important. Second one, if they get past to this leg, I end up in kind of like a knee slide-ish position. And again, I don't do this because it's easier to move left and right and change sides and make my, let's say, life more hell. I'm doing this. And I can also mess with the neck a little bit, but I'm breaking the borscht like this. And then I'm looking for the leg, because I want to support my knee, because I don't want this to crash to the mat. Or I take his arm and also shove it here. And now sweeping is sometimes too easy because the neck is already broken. So in the jiu-jitsu world there's a lot of arguing which is better, gi or no gi, because there's argument that gi breaks the posture better. But I would argue in that point that if you yank the gi and then yank the head, this actually breaks the posture way better. So they both help each other, but if the argument is just posture breaking is better with a gi, you have to find another argument because there's evidence that it's actually the other way around. So one more time. So legs, that's the idea, yeah? They get past this, you have this. And you can have legs, if you turn around, I'll do this leg. You can have legs like crossed, like a Z-guardish, and you can have like legs here, like under the shoulder blade. And this is also like more loose, but this feels more secure, and you can push-pull system. So you have both legs, you can use both. And some people I know put it also under, so you can support. So this kind of seems to be like a moving leg, because it can be here. So this is mostly stationary. So one is static, one we call it like a scrambling leg. So, and all is glued together by this knee and this space not opened up, so they can't pass through. And if they start to like open up a little bit, now this is more dangerous. You can have pushing, but also I would stay here, and I would like example, sit up. I would try to keep my knees, and if they start to break that position, more straightening my legs and stuff, I would do, in any case, if I feel, I would sit up and go to butterfly guard. because I want my knees to my chest, because they can also grab, let's say, grab the pants, and they shove this leg behind, you know, and they grab the collar and everything. So if they start to do those things, I need my knees. So any time you want, if they start to mess with you, because they can, they kick the space open. They can do those things. Now the hook doesn't work. So now is your time. If they go, and you sit up and you're good. So those are the early versions I would recommend you to play. Definitely this, and the top leg can do work. And then if you miss that, then all the B, C, D games will happen. And then the guard retention information you have to add to that. But today we're not going that far. So we have saved good stuff for the for the last, so to speak. Rules about stretching. We talked about it, I mentioned them I think earlier. Rules about stretching. I consider keep playing open guard like boxing. It's important to know when to stretch, because if you stretch wrong time, you get punched in the face, and if you stretch right time, you can punch somebody in the face, and they have harder time to block and stuff. So I'm really big about when to stretch, because wrestling is about when you extend your body, when you stretch your body, how to get a double leg, because do it wrong time, kind of bad. So now I'm going to show you examples of how you should think about it. So let's do this around. Usually, let's say, I think it's very common to see in Jiu-Jitsu those things. Somebody grabs the ankle and you have the fate here, yeah? And then it's the riva and everything. And this is very dangerous, because they're gonna shove that leg between the legs and then try to pass and everything. They're gonna do leg drag and also leg locks, yeah? They're gonna take that leg and go. So that's, but it's very common, and so there's a rule now. You only stretch when you pull something back. So that's very important. So if you have that arm, then you can stretch. Then this is a very good option. From the elbow, from this, I have sweeps. I kind of like that sweep also myself. And you have this, and on your elbow, his elbow is flat, and you can win the fight. So, but let's say if you have that grip, and you stretch when you pull something back, and then he releases his grip, I pull my leg back. Because I can't, if he releases grip, I can't keep the leg there, because now it's already vulnerable to different things. So I only stretch when I pull something back. So let's say spider guard, yeah? I only stretch when I pull something back. I play with that, I do different things. And De La Riva, I think, I usually use this example a lot, because I like that sweep myself also, and you really have to off balance if you have those no-gi grips also, because otherwise they're in strong position. But it's really important to pull the leg back out, right away. And from here, you can reinforce also. From this position, it's really, really hard to do leg drag. And because I use the hook also here, but without the hook also, I can reinforce, go. And then I pummel in and everything is good, And then again, I get this, and right away I can start to stretch. So I use those things. Then, shoving the leg between, like you usually do for a knee slide, really hard to do when you have a grilled chicken. And this is, switch the legs, and this is actually very good guard to hold. People do it in competition with, this grip, but this is very annoying because you can't really leg drag this way, that way, go also under, knee slide is kind of hard. So in essence, you don't have anything, but this is okay to be here, you can grab and stay and look for grips. Also, if you don't feel good about it, then push them away and sit up. So it's very, very important rule of stretching, let's say Z-guard. So here also. So that's why I play this, because now it's push and pull. I can stretch my legs because I pull something back. And that's a good idea. If he releases that grip, now I can't push anymore. Because if I push this, now it's leg locks. Yeah, they can right away go to step over here, ankle in, go leg locks, do something. I can't control it. I can't control my knee line. So if they release that grip, I pull everything back again. So now I'm safe again. So I'm forcing them to use a lot of power. So it's safe to pull the legs back also. Because if I'm keeping it, if they just do this and release, no, I'm gonna really hold the grip, like a good tight clinch, and they really, really have to go up, and that's the safe place to pull the legs out. It's really, really important. And another thing would be also you stretch when you pull something back or off balance them. So we would use this in MMA example. Like if it's in close guard, toes on a mat and everything. So I could push the legs. In Jiu-Jitsu, if I just put the legs there and stretch, they use the leg drags and stuff. But MMA, I could just, stretch my legs off balancing them. They're making like, they're falling or making a couple of steps back. And then they can't expose my legs stretching. So they would, leg lock me or something. But I wouldn't do, I wouldn't do like legs here. But this is the obvious leg drags right away. Yeah, go. Leg drags, then you pass. Because you see sometimes people do that they start with that kind of open guard thing. But this is for me, that's just like a really, like a weird habit to have, because you're teaching people to stretch when they actually be like keeping like good structure. And so my advice would be, if you only stretch when you pull something back. And that's why you sometimes, not sometimes, many times, that's why people pass your guard, because you stretch in the wrong time. You do something, you freak out, you stretch, and there's an opening, and they pass. So it's kind of fun sometimes to monitor yourself, to go like, I stretch, and that's why they pass the guard. And so you will keep doing those things, but now you're aware of those things, when you should stretch and when not, and then play with that, do mistakes, and then fix them, and just enjoy. And now it's when you know why you're losing, now the losing is way more enjoyable. So this is a very big part of Jiu-Jitsu. You have to lose to get better, but losing should be enjoyable, not like suffering kind of thing. So definitely check that out and try to be better with the stretching part. So now we're going to talk about like unifying theory of how this grilled chicken stuff unifies different guards, and how, for example, the Derriba and Spider Guard are natural part of good guards. So like years I had trouble to teaching again like open guard. We did like the Derriba, nice like hierarchy of sweeps. We did like many Spider Guard seminars, but it didn't click. So the problem was there was no like unifying theory, because they kind of felt like very distant to each other, like the Derriba and then Spider Guard. It's like I'm usually saying that quantum physics and gravity, they shouldn't exist in the same world, because smaller things, the quantum applies, and then bigger objects, the gravity applies, the theory of gravity. So it wasn't until we found out the grilled chicken that kind of everything makes sense, and it was kind of the unifying thing, the glue that put everything together. Example, let's say we do the Derriba, leg forward, and so usually if you're a coach or being coached, then if somebody is trying to teach you, or you're trying to teach the Derriba, then first, let's say 20 minutes of the class, like beginner's class or something, goes to explaining people what the hell is the Derriba, and all the structure, the pressures and everything, the legs and this, and 15-20 minutes, and everybody's brain will go like, yeah, and then you have to go like, let's guys do 2 sweeps now, and then people go like, because it's too much. So now we have a structure of grilled chicken, how everything should be, and now the joke is about like, guys, okay guys, yeah, we do like the Derriba, no Derriba, the Derriba, no Derriba. So the structure is there. It's you're just gonna put the people to structure and go like, guys, today and right away 2 sweeps. Whatever grips you want, you have this, you want belt grip, you want collar, whatever it is. It's right away programmed, and then you can go, whatever you want to do later. So everything kind of fits in this format. So you can play the Derriba and not play the Derriba. So same is Spider Guard. So if somebody grabs your legs, and you want always legs inside, this is what they have to do. They want this. So you want inside. Sometimes you like more like this way. You play like this, but mostly you want inside. So that's really, really important. And then from here, you go stretching, and that is a Spider Guard. So, I've heard those stories about, I think Draculino said something that he was starting, Spider Guards back in the day, and then he was called like blasphemy or something, it wasn't Jiu-Jitsu, and now it's like every day. Because for me, if I play this grilled chicken, then Spider Guards and Derribas, it just happens from there. And all, like say, other forms of guard also, like, foot and hip, they just happen here, Spider Guard, so I can play all the things. I personally sometimes like to play like hybrids. I do those things, they step, and then I do a double ankle sweep. So I also like hybrids. So if you have that structure, so I think for coaches and stuff, it will really helpful like to explain other things that for me at least, were really difficult to explain and find the structure that I can build everything on. And like I earlier said, it's like a 0 point. All the complexity, like Origin of Life, that just go and then you find a single cell, or stardust or something. So you can re-engineer all the complexity of the guard to this one position on your back, and then and build all the complexity. So my suggestion is use that. Whatever guard you like, you put it on, and then you change your opinions during the years. And you like this card, and then you like that card. But then the grilled chicken stays. So that's the foundation. You can play boxing also, like maybe some stages you like body punching, some stages you play more high or whatever. But this structure stays the same. So you can add everything to that structure. So that's why if somebody would ask me, do I have a game? I actually have that grilled chicken game. And then I'm trying to adapt to everything I meet. Because they've been saying like, styles make fights. But I think it's partly true, and I think it's when your guard is like, say, specific derriba, and then somebody's game is specific something other passing, then definitely styles make fights. But if your basic style is styleless, basic style is, this, just very foundation, then very adaptable also, then the styles makes fights argument doesn't apply anymore so much. So I think it's very important to understand that. And if you like Shotengan, I don't mind. But I think that, in my opinion, should be like a foundation or something similar. And then you build everything on that. And then, it's easy to play guards. And also, what's happened to, like coaching, is, let's say, card passing. Before, I don't know how I did card passing before. Because if you don't have grilled chicken, then how do you teach people passing guard? Because it cannot be in a first class. Guys, they have a de la Riva, they have this grip, they have that, and now I pass with knee slide. It's too much for a beginner, even for blue belt. They need to know so much previous information about this. So, let's say day one, literally like month one or something, you have grilled chicken, and you can teach people to roundos, knee slides, under, over, without having them, okay, you always know those videos, like they have something specific on you, and then from here, you go here and you pass and do stuff. It's necessary to do those things also, but at first you can't do it, because white belts can't have like tons of pre-information before they need to know the knee slide. So how do you teach? So this structure is like, okay, this is it, and now we're gonna play like with something open, and then we're gonna do a knee slide or something. So this is very helpful tool to have that structure for coaches. So I actually don't know what I did before. So that's I think if you struggle with that, that's a very useful tool, and I hope you find it like it makes your life way more easier. So yes. And now again, obvious question: if you stay like that on your back, the obvious question is, what about leg locks? Let's say, I'm not saying no leg locks, but I'm saying everything's harder. Like we see it with a knee slide, with double unders, and everything is kind of harder. It's not there exactly, so it's harder to attack. So if you would go like, somebody does this, kind of easy to go, get the knee, get the contact, and then, you have to try that to the escapes. But if you just keep your knees, and also you can reinforce it, but just if they go for it, this is all harder. Yeah. And I have lots of time, so definitely wrist fight. The toes are up because they have to go over the toes. So if they go, they expose the shoulder a little bit, so I have time. And definitely this makes everything worse, because the attacking knee is now, the attackable knee is now down. If they go for it, it's kind of easy to get the knee line covered. And then they're already in a good distance for me to grab the head. And so this is always, the knees up to the Z-guard. So that's why I don't do this, because that's a leg lock stuff. They can just go, whatever, because this is now safer for leg locks. Because before, if they want to go to leg locks, they have to kill that grip first. And now I pull everything back again, and I control the arms and everything. So that's the very important key. That this helps, and if they go, you can wrist fight and stuff, knee line and everything. And go back. This is very good option. Kind of both legs are dead for leg locks, and also back step. So back step happens if I go here, they expose that, go back. So, but it happens because I stretch. So if they come knee slide in, and now if I do something, I kind of stretch here, and now they can step back and go. So if I'm keeping everything in, go. It's kind of hard to do back step. They have to push that knee, and it's kind of not easy, and I can reinforce, and there's the setups. The setups can happen, but it takes way more force to like do those leg locks. And so the stretching is a kind of the enemy of this. If I just stretch and don't pull something back, all the passes and leg locks are available. So if you just keep your knees in, it's way harder. So they have to play more sport, push, pull, left, right. So you would a little bit expose your leg, and that's their timing. So still things can happen. Things are happening, but it shouldn't be like, you know, I just take a leg lock. So that would be very, very like a poor grilled chicken, I would say. So, and then you learn to control their arms better. You connect to this, you sit up, you look for hooks inside control, and you make their life harder. So definitely play with that. And so the leg lock shouldn't be that obvious answer, just get the leg. And it's very, very, the toes, again, it's very important that you're not this, they can have a leg faster, but they go over the toes. And that kind of exposes them, you know, elbow and everything, kind of makes them weaken for a split second. And I want them, for leg locks, I want them to go closer to me. So I have to be at a distance so I can touch my legs, my ankles. If I'm here, so my ankles are dangerous, I can't, you know, cover to help them. So this, so I can cover, and grilled chicken, so I can play here and cover my ankles and fight for that. So that's very, very important. So having a good structure, good stretch, good like a posture in that sense is very, very important. So you'll be fine with leg locks. So, but you still have to train that, and notice, you have to also know the attacks, because you can't really defend stuff if you don't know it happening. So definitely get something that's good in leg locks, and then fix your chicken and make it work. Small add-ons to the stretching again. Sometimes it's misunderstood. The stretching means, let's try. When I mean stretching, I mean don't stretch this way. When they go invert, when they go that side, I can always go stretch myself that way. So stretching means I don't want to, you know, move my knee up from my chest. So that would be like that stretching I will only do when I pull something back. But I can stretch my hamstrings and go invert and everything. So those are good until I don't open up that space. So that's the, like I forgot to kind of say that, or usually people, I have to say that in a seminar, it's kind of extra that, oh, I didn't mean that. So because people are like, I can't stretch though. So, but I mean, yes, this can move, this is nice. But this only happens when you pull something back or you off balance them. So this is a nice rule to have in mind. And you will also mess with that rule and you will fail, but that's fun to remember. Oh, I stretched, and again. So fix it and enjoy it. So final word. Thank you for ordering this, and thank you for watching till the end. It's been a pleasure. I hope those ideas what we're talking about, the simplicity and just, you know, the structure of it, it made you realize something, and it really helps your game. And so definitely I'm willing to work more with BJJ fanatics, and I'm definitely thanking Globetrotters for opportunities and, you know, making my name more, you know, out there and exposed. So we will have those opportunities. So I really hope you find this DVD material very useful, and thank you for watching, and see you in the future DVDs.